Welcome to Panthers Training Camp Live, presented by Coca-Cola. I'm Kristen Balboni. You are looking live at the field right there. I am here in the studio at Bank of America, and we got another day of practice to bring to you, and we are so excited to do it. And I'm even more excited because you will not believe our guest today. We have got Panthers legend and Hall of Honor member Wesley Walls. Wesley, thank you for doing this and watching practice with us today.
Oh, thank you, Christine. I appreciate that. Glad being here. Glad to watch some football practice. It's been a while.
Absolutely. Although you did tell me before we started, you said, now this is how I like to involve myself with training camp, virtually.
Absolutely. 15 training camps, believe me, toward the end, I found ways to miss practice, and this would have been awesome to have virtual training camp practices for old guys like me back in the last few years of my career.
Well, it's hard to argue with the results of training camp on your career. We got to show some highlights if you're here, Wesley. We got to bring back some of those incredible touchdowns right here. What do you think when you see these highlights of yourself? I'm guessing you don't strike me as a guy who watches his highlights a lot anymore, huh?
No, I love seeing them now. I don't see many, but I do. I love seeing Kerry Collins right here. I remember this play. I remember the point of the game where that was a big play. That was play. We clinched the division there in San Francisco, and this was the only catch I had against Kansas City. So I do. It just brings back a lot of memories. And there's my man Berline, and I'm sure this is going to be a wobbly pass, and I'm going to somehow find a way to catch it. Watch this. Let's see. No, it was a good one. It was a good pass for Steve, man. But I always give Steve a hard time. He was one of the most accurate passers I ever played with, and one of the toughest football players that I ever played with as well.
Absolutely. And, I got a chance to talk to Berline about that famous quarterback draw in '99, which was a lot of fun. So I had a chance to talk to him a couple of months ago. We are waiting for the guys to take the field. We've got a little bit of footage that we want to show everyone of some stretching as they get ready. And Wesley, they're doing this all in the dome on the practice field. And the cool thing about these practices, you and I were talking about this a little bit before, is that the players really never know what they're going to expect. I mean, look, we got a little basketball shooting out there, but everything is varied. Everything is different every day. But I like the hoop action. What do you think?
Yeah, it's great. Just kind of relax, get ready for a practice. And every practice is important, especially in this environment today. You only have so many before you're playing real football games. So it's good to relax and have a little something, take their mind off a little hoop. Every football player brags on how good they are at basketball. So now you have a goal out there, you can prove it.
I have noticed that as we see Ian Thomas getting loose right there. I have noticed that interviewing a lot of football players and seeing them kind of in groups. What is it about football players that you just, because it's not any other sport necessarily, but it's always basketball. Everyone wants to be the best basketball player.
Well, it's kind of, it's really the basketball players are very athletic athletes. And so I guess as a football player, you kind of think of yourself as a great athlete too, and you want to prove it on the basketball court as well. And it's just fun. Basketball, I love playing it. I mean, we used to have all-season basketball teams with the 49ers, and we travel around and play local municipalities and have a great time. And it brings out the best athletes. They show up on the basketball court.
Well, I got to say, and now I just want to let everyone know we are looking live now. We're going to get into some drills here. I got to say, though, I feel like tight ends naturally probably have the best claim of any position when it comes to basketball, right?
Absolutely. We're all about 6'4", 6'5", over 30-inch verticals. I know some of my teammates are going to be laughing to hear me say that, but I did have over a 30-inch vertical at one point in my career.
Have you tested it lately?
No, I don't think I've been off the ground in a long time, vertically anyway. I tell you that. But no, we're all really that tight ends. You have to build a block, you have to build a run, catch, and so a lot of these guys played basketball and converted to tight end late in their career. I think we may have one on the team. Ian Thomas may have done that, and so it's just being athleticism carries over to being a tight end.
Absolutely, and that's what we're seeing now. So, of course, today, having you here, we are going to focus on the tight ends as we see them starting their individual drills, and we see some general warm-ups here. Were there drills when you were in training camp that you loved and drills that you hated? Does anything stick out to you?
Yeah. I always loved catching the ball and any kind of ball catching drills. I did not mind. We had Don Bro was our tight end coach. He had a pretty good arm. I mean, he could throw it. And he liked to throw it, try to break your finger a little bit just to test you in individual warm ups. But that was a great drill I just saw. Those guys catching it quick and turning up through the dummies and getting hit, trying to hold on to the ball. Just I saw some good hands. I mean, those are great catches, quick hands, catching, tucking, and turning. So I loved anything to do with passing. Now, when you got to the blocking drills, I kind of want to hurry up and get that over with.
So I want to ask you about Chris Manhertz. Coach Rule has said that he has the potential to be the best blocking tight end in the NFL. He's very high on him, and specifically his blocking abilities. What makes a tight end just an incredible blocker? How do you develop that skill like he has?
Yeah, Chris is exactly right. Coach Rule is exactly right. I've watched him over the last few years. You got to have flexibility in the hips, leverage, and power. Power when you actually flip the hips. That's where all your power is generated. And he's got tremendous power. He's strong. He's tall. He's a tall guy that can be able to get down low with the linebackers and use his hips and strength there and his lower body to drive and move people. He does a great job of it. And he's a good athlete as well. You have good feet too to be a great blocker. And the main thing in blocking is want to. You got to really want to block somebody to block them, and he's got that kind of attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go back to your training camp days. Were you someone that got excited about training camp? We started this show and we've done a few shows with Jake Delhomme, and he was like, I love training camp, and especially that first day in pads. It's like Christmas. We heard from Trey Boston earlier this week, and he's like, man, when the pads start thumping, it's time to go. But then you got people that, are like, oh, here we go. I know I'm going to be so sore. It's not my favorite time of year. Now, I know you said after 15 years of it, you felt a certain type of way, but in general, thinking about that first week, how did you feel and how did you approach training camp?
Well, I prepared. Now, I was ready to go to training camp. I was in shape every year, but that last week or two before you go, you get a little nervous. This is it. This is what I've been working for, and it's hard work. I got excited about training camp. I love putting the pads on and going out and compete. It's just it was so long in my day. We had. I can see how the quarterbacks, I love training camp. We go out and throw the ball around. We got a jersey, nobody can hit us and all that stuff. And just, and really study our game. But for the regular player, we're down there getting after each other and competing, wearing pads, and two a days, and heat and humidity down in Spartanburg was part of getting ready for the season, and it got us in shape to do it as well. And then it's the grind. It's a routine. You just do it over and over and over, and you know what to expect. That's one thing. After playing so long, you know what to expect. But it was not fun. It was work. I did. Whenever you had a little time off, I did try to have as much fun as I could to relax. But it was hard work.
It absolutely was. And just so everyone knows, as I said, Coach Rule likes to keep it unpredictable. So we are still not fully in the individual period yet, which we will be showing it to you. But we are looking live right now at that tight end group. Wesley, I got to say, though, you're talking about some of those tougher training camps you've had. And certainly while this is a tough one, with it being later in the year, in August, and now with them doing these early mornings, and it's in Charlotte, it's 73 degrees outside today. A little bit different than I imagined. And you're in the area, but a little bit different than what I bet you imagine or remember when you think about your training camps. And I just think about how hot it usually is.
Absolutely, Chris. It was the humidity. In the morning, you do have a little cooler practice than you will in the heat of the afternoon, but the humidity just would wear you down. You start sweating during stretch to the point where your whole uniform was soaking wet. So it's different. Being indoors like this in the dome here in Charlotte, these guys are probably staying at home, getting rest. It's a lot easier to rest in your home in your own bed than going to a dorm room in a little single twin bed. So but I'm an old guy that likes to make fun of how easy the young guys have it now, how much money they're making, and how all the stuff, the glory, the TV, but it's still hard. Training camp is hard. You got your job on the line. You got 80 something players there at training camp probably, and 55 are going to make the team, and there's going to be some practice squad, and you got to make your way. I mean, you got to impress the coaches, especially when it's been shortened this year with all that's going on. You haven't had a chance. Some of these players that are on the fringe or on the edge of making the team haven't had a chance to showcase their skills. So every day is important to come out ready to go, show the coach what you can do, compete, make plays, open up some eyes, and earn that roster spot.
Absolutely. And I want to get back to that what you were just saying about this season being so different and less time for those guys on the cusp. We're seeing Joseph Charlton right there, but we just saw Joey Sly, the kicker. We were talking about how good a shape tight ends are in. Have you ever seen a guy in better shape than Joey Sly? And he's the kicker.
Well, I'm not a big fan of kickers, but you need them. You have to have one on your team. So if we're going to have one, you might as well be in good a shape as this kid is. He looks like he's been working out hard and during this time and staying in shape. That's good for him. He's trying to impress.
Absolutely. And we are looking live right now. I see Taylor Moten out there. O-line guys. So we're going to bring you everything that we can. All right. And it looks like we are in the individual period now. And Wesley, we would love to, especially when we get on those tight ends, anything you see that sticks out to you. We got a little bit of that earlier. Just let us know. And I got to say, Brian Angelico is the tight ends coach. A lot of NFL experience. How valuable do you think that is for these guys to have a guy who has coached in different places in the NFL?
Oh, yeah, coached or played, and it just means a lot. That he knows what you're going through. He knows what you're thinking. He knows what it takes to what a good practice looks like to coach, and the players respect the coach's play. I really believe that. I think they know the guy's been down and competed. He knows what it's like being a player. So that's a big plus. And we've got some great young, talented tight ends. This is a great opportunity for them this year with Greg Olsen moving on, for them to come out. And so somebody's going to have to be the man. And we don't know who that is yet, but somebody's got to step up and be the leader and the starter. And we'll see some of it right here. Who's going to be practicing hard? Who's going to be practicing best? These receivers, it looks like. No, tight end, that's Chris, man. He's like
hey, thought you might have thought there were the receivers out there. That's not a bad compliment to give those tight ends, huh?
No, that's good. They're all lean and moving around. There's an 85. Goodness gracious, that's the best 85's ever looked in a uniform.
Hey now.
But no, they're working on their just blocking skills right here from the line of scrimmage and just staying with the block, finishing the block. That's a key component of any blocking is finish. You can block a guy the first couple seconds and then don't finish him, and he'll make the play for these athletes. A defensive end, they make a play for a 2-yard loss. So it's good that they're finishing through the drill, and coach knows that as well. And good way to start practice with some good blocking drills before they get to the receiving drills. Is
it weird for you to see? We just saw, Giovanni Ricci in that 85. Is it weird for you to see someone, even though it's not you, but it's just you've looked at that 85 jersey in those colors for so long? Does it kind of catch your eye funny when you see someone else wearing that jersey?
It does. I have to admit, I looked at it when I first saw it. I said, "Hey, man,
that doesn't look like short.
Me." I look short or something, I don't know how tall this kid is, but I don't think he's 6'4", 6'5". But anyway, he's an athlete moving around good. It does.
He's listed
when
at
I
6'3".
see 85, I kind of look twice. I'll be honest with you. He's 6'3". All right, here we go. He's only 23 though. I think I've got kids a lot older than him.
Well, he's doing his best out there, Ricci, to live up to that 85 standard. And again, for everyone who's just joining us, we got a live look in at the individual portion of today's practice, and we are focusing on tight ends because we got the man himself, Wesley Walls, here with us.
Well, I'm going to remember Giovanni's name. What a name! That'd be a great, that'd be a good name to hear come across the radio a couple of times. People won't forget that.
Well, look, my last name is Balboni. My dad is Italian, so I like the Giovanni Ricci,
These are second level blocks, which it looks to me when I see this, we didn't have many of these. When I see them practicing this, I don't know any kind of offense, what kind of offensive coach Rule is going to run, but it looks like they're going to be going downfield and blocking in second level, which is a linebacker level, probably on up to the safety level. It's depending on the coverage from the defense. So you get a little bit of a look into what type of offense we might run when they're going to the second level. They're practicing second level blocking, which is going to be important. You want the guy that's a rusher on the end. It takes 3 or 4 steps up the field. He creates a natural gap. You go to the second level, seal off a linebacker. You got a natural seam for Christian McCaffrey to hit through to the outside.
So what do you think when you see that as a component of this offense potentially?
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, you got you want to get pressure. These defensive ends, they make these millions of dollars sacking a quarterback. So they're always in a 3-point, getting down, getting upfield, and it does create some separation. And if we can seal off the inside, seal off the tackles, and create a seam for a guy like Christian McCaffrey, he's going to bust it. And and then you can, Christian can fake through there and catch the ball as well. So when I see this second level blocking, and here's it looks like the offensive tackles right here.
Yep. We switched over to the O-line for a minute.
Yeah, I like to see Greg Little. I'm glad he's out there. He's an Ole Miss guy, and I was kind of scanning through the roster. We got 3 or 4 Ole Miss guys on the team, so I expect us to have a good football team. When we keep those guys. It may be the only Ole Miss players I see play this year. I don't know about college.
That is true. Who knows what is going to happen. And Wesley, I got to tell you, I have been so impressed being here and being, of course, at a safe distance, but around this team as we see Pat Meyer, the O-line coach, so impressed at how healthy and safe of an environment this really is here. And of course, we're back to the tight ends now. But, I mean, it's really just been incredibly impressive with the amount of testing, the separation between the players and everyone else. And it's really incredible.
Yeah, you can tell just watching. I was noticing some, mask, shields, or whatever you call it. And these players they're safer in this environment when they're together as a team than they would be out normally in a day-to-day routine in Charlotte. So I'm glad that they're doing this. Safety, as a football player, your health is important. It's the most important thing. If you're not healthy enough to play, can't get on the field, then you're not going to last long. So that's good that they're taking this serious. It's a serious deal, but they're able to get their work in. So we'll be able to see some good football this fall.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the masks and the shields. One thing that I thought was really interesting is that Coach Rule said, the coaches have been experimenting with whether they're going to wear a mask or a shield. I believe we saw Coach Rule a little bit earlier wearing the mask, and we see some of the masks right there. I think he's gone like mask and bucket hat almost every day that I've been out there. Coach Rule has, but we saw some coaches in face shields, and they say, some coaches like to do it so that they can make sure the players still see their expressions in practice, which I thought was a great point, which we've never had to think about until this season.
Absolutely. It is a good point. I mean, when you're getting into a play, you're coaching a player now, you can't see his expressions, and sometimes you may not listen as well as you should. You can see their eyes, but it's better to see the whole face expression. So it makes sense. But I got those shields. I experimented with them a little bit because, the glare. A lot of guys see a glare up when they look in the lights, and I tried it out. I never could get more comfortable. I felt like I was breathing my own air sometimes, and it was a little warmer in there in the helmet, and I just decided against it. But some players have used. Julius Peppers wore one his whole career, and played at a high level, very high level. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be a lot different. These young men, or I keep calling them kids. Sorry about that.
I've done the same thing, especially with the rookies coming in. I'm like, these kids. Well, they're professionals now. But that's what happens when we kind of age out of the NFL age, huh?
Yes, exactly. I'm a poster child for aging out of the NFL right here, I can tell you. But no. I love seeing these guys getting off line. They're here. They are practicing getting off the line in their 2-point stance, which 2-point stance is you 2 feet on the ground, 3 points when you put one hand, 4 points, 2 hands. So these guys standing up tell me they're going to be out, separated away from the line, the offensive tackle, out in space like Greg Olsen did a lot already, and they're going to be comfortable with that. But I just wonder what kind of offense we're going to run this year. I can't wait to see it live, and how much the tight end is going to be a factor. I think they're going to be a big factor. I think Ian Thomas and that the whole crew, they're all, as you can see, very athletic players. We've had flashes of greatness from Ian Thomas, so we'll see if he can be consistent, and these young guys can push him and get the game as well and make our team better and make the tight end a big factor in the offense.
That's a great point. You know, talking about Ian Thomas getting to that next level after being behind Greg Olsen. You spent time behind Brent Jones. What do you take as a player away from backing up someone who is just great?
Yeah, you take what you don't do. You don't get, don't be jealous or like I'm better than him. And you watch and you learn. You see what they do better than you, or what they do great, and how they practice and how they take care of their body. And it's a great learning experience. I think this is going to be his third year, and the third year has always been sort of the year that you need to make a move to either one way or the other toward greatness or getting better, or you stay the same, you're getting worse, to be honest with you, in the NFL after your third year. So that's where you kind of have the confidence. You know what it's like. You know what it takes. You've been in the game, and your third year, you should walk out there and impress people with your abilities. And so I'm looking for Ian to do that this year. You can see the guy got athletic ability. He can catch the football. He's got quickness with speed. He's going to be able to do good things with the ball after he catches. There's a good catch there, too, good hands. And I like these little routes, these little post routes for the tight end, and drag route right there underneath. So that's good. That's a good kid there from Temple. He's another athlete that's I think these kids have like 2%. Keep calling kids, sorry, 2% body fat.
Well, and you're right, and that's Tamarick Hemingway. He was in the concussion protocol, so it's great to see him back out there getting in work. Absolutely.
Yeah, I really like the way they're here. They go with two tight ends. I mean, one on each side. They're probably going to rotate. Oh, they're going to both go at the same time. That's great. When I see two tight ends on the field with this kind of athletic ability, it does a lot of things puts a lot of pressure on the defense. I mean, they're going to stay in their run defense, and now you get linebackers on tight ends, and that never works. Even with Luke Kuechly. Luke Kuechly may be listening. He did it as well as anybody.
No one could do it better, but.
But it's still a tight end going against a linebacker. I always felt like we had an advantage. That's just me being me, I think. But the guys that kid, that young man looks like he might have some ability.
Well, and we talked about also, being a good basketball player. If you're a tight end, something tells me he can hoop too, huh, Hemingway?
Yeah, 245, 6'5", 245. I can't think of a better size to be in this type of offense and this type of NFL tight end game now. They're all about that. They're all the tight ends around 245 to 255. Very athletic, can run, catch the football, and then can block. And that's a good catch and turn by Ian there. I want to see a lot of that this fall. Mm-hmm. You see, I get real quiet when I see somebody do something better than I did. Like, I got my work cut out for me, and here I am. I'm not playing.
I love that though, but that's I think separates professional athletes in addition to just the physical abilities. I love that competitiveness is still there, right? Because you have to have that. It can't all just be physical, and that's a big component of training camp is the mental aspect of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're all teammates, but we're all competing against each other to play in the National Football League. What a great opportunity, and you get a chance to get paid for it too. And we all have each one of those tight ends have a story. They have a story how they've gotten here, how hard they worked for this opportunity, and they have dreams and goals and aspirations, and they have a family. They have fans and people back home that are pulling for them. So when they walk on that field, you're representing all that. You represent everything you've done to this point, and you just want to remember that and compete and go out and be ready every day to compete and get better. And they're off to a good start of a practice here today. And like I said, they had started with the block and they got to the fun stuff over catching the ball, and they really look good catching the ball. I'm impressed with the tight end group. And here we go working with the tackles. Now this is important too. I mean, in run game, most of the time, especially a power run game, you're going to be working with your offensive tackle, either on a double team block, and you rub off the double team up to the second level, or the back level as well. and working with those guys is important to the success of the running game. This looks a little different. This just looks like they're in a sort of a pass stance.
And how much has, I know every team is going to do things differently. I'm sure that this looks a lot different even just from last year with this new coaching staff. But would you say this is more similar or different to kind of the drills you went through when you were in training camp?
Same drills. I mean, they're doing the same thing that we did right here. You're blocking a defensive tackle here. It's in a 7 technique or a wide 5, and you're double teaming up to the linebacker. 85 there, the tight end was playing a defensive linebacker, and so they're just a combination block. If the defensive end goes in and the linebacker comes out, the tackle will take the defensive end and the tight end will pick up the linebacker, and vice versa. So it's you got to be able to do it you got to practice it over and over. So when it happens so fast in the game, that it's just natural reaction to you, and more you do it, the more natural it becomes. I was just commenting on the stance. Some of these, maybe it was just me. When I had a running play, I kind of had a different stance. Maybe these guys look like they're almost in a pass stance, a little back. They're back on their feet a little bit, and their heads up a little high.
Well, interesting. He just got adjusted there.
Yeah, he did. So, but they're coming off fine, and they're driving people. There's not a lot of contact here. There's no shoulder pads today, it looks like.
Yes, and they have been in pads most of the rest of the week, but they did not go with it today. So obviously we'll change things just a little bit.
If you notice, Kristen, these guys are moving. I mean, I don't know if this is live. I mean, there's somebody. I mean, quick. I mean, they're lining up and getting ready to go. They're getting a lot of repetitions in a short time in practice. Even though we probably practice long, I don't remember moving this fast to between the plays. We kind of lollygagged around a little bit, trying to make it.
Well, Wesley, you're so right. That's been a big theme of all of our live shows today, and I get to, after we finish this up, I get to go out and watch from a safe distance, kind of the vantage point that you can see some of those people in the vests behind there. And I mean, the fact that we can tell it from this feed of how quickly everything is going, when you see it all together, and then there's the music, and you can see the play clock and how quickly they are moving in between everything. It's really, really fast, and I love it.
Yeah, I do too. And this, a lot of times you do these drills, you can kind of go through the motions. And believe me, I've done it plenty of times, and you feel that way, really. Oh man, we're not in pads, but they've got some some energy. There's some energy in these drills, and that'll make them better, and it become the blocking schemes will be more natural and it happen faster. Just a reaction. You won't have time to think about it. You just react.
Well, and the coaches are getting involved in these drills too. We haven't seen as much of it today, but I like that too. I mean, like you said, there's no kind of sense of, okay, we're just going to kind of walk through this one. We're not going to give it full effort. I mean, there's really not a lot of room to do that from anybody.
That's right. That's good. That just tells me that's from the head coach down.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's what my coach used to say. All this screaming and yelling is because I got screamed and yelled at by my boss. So I'm going to scream and yell at you to get the most out of you. So it kind of runs downhill is what he told me. So that's what's happening. Coach Rule has set a standard, and he's got a standard he wants his coaches to coach by, and those coaches are going to make sure that the players get the message as well.
Absolutely. I want to go back to some of the big names that we've talked about in this tight end group, and I just want to get, if you don't mind, what's your advice for Ian Thomas if you were in his position?
Yeah, I would say I'd let Ian know that this is his year. It really is. This is his time. Greg Olsen has moved on to Seattle. He had 2 years to learn from one of the best in the game. So you're prepared and you're in shape. This is a big opportunity, but don't let it be so big that you're not ready for it or you're nervous. Just go out and be the athlete that you are. Make plays, have the confidence, be powerful, confident, and calm is what I used to tell myself. Powerful, confident, and calm before every practice, before every game. And just go out and be the player to be the best you can be. Don't look around and try to be this player or be that player, just to be the best you can be. And I think Ian's going to be fine. His natural ability is tremendous. I mean, he's got great speed and quickness, and he's strong. He can catch the ball, and he's had someone to learn from like Greg Olson the last few years. I expect big things from Ian, and he needs to know that. I mean, I wouldn't be afraid to tell him. I'm sure the coach is saying, "This is your year. This is you need to step up." And so he's got a little pressure on him, but that's what you got to handle, the pressure to go to the next level.
Well, and I love to see him. We just saw him, doing a little bit of coaching of his own with Giovanni Ricci. Put his hands on him, showed him a little bit of a move. I absolutely love that. And then really quickly, I want to get you, what's your advice for those young guys that are trying to prove themselves and make this team?
Just work your tail off every practice. Do something every day that kind of catches somebody's eye. And if that's, a block, a great block, you pancake somebody, or you spring Christian McCaffrey or a running back, or you make a great catch, just do something. Try to do something every day that impresses the coaches. And the main thing too is don't make any mental mistakes. That some guys they forget about the mental part of the game, and they'll get in the game and they'll run the wrong play. Be consistent on your assignments, and make sure every play is with the maximum effort, and then make plays to get the attention of those coaches, and they'll start talking about you in those coaches' room when they evaluate the film after practice and stuff, and get their name mentioned and maybe make the team.
I love that, and what better advice from a legend, Hall of Honor inductee like yourself. So we just showed the part of practice that we can show, and Wesley, it was so great getting your expertise on everything. Before we start to wrap it up, I do want to get to our Coca-Cola Better Together moment, and that is another show that we are doing a little bit later, Wesley, with a lot of your former teammates. We're going to be showing that 2003 game, the Rams versus the Panthers. We had, that ex-clown play in double overtime between Jake Delhomme and Steve Smith, and a lot of the members of that team will be joining us. And Wesley, I'll be sure to tell them all that you said hello.
Yeah, tell Jake I said, of course he likes training camp. He doesn't do anything.
I'm definitely telling him that later on tonight. And just for anyone watching, I'm also taking over the Panthers Instagram today, so make sure you check that out. It's been a lot of fun. We got a lot going on here, but what an incredible way to start this day off, to get to watch practice with Wesley Walls. Wesley, I cannot thank you enough.
No, that was fun, Kristen. Honestly, I haven't watched practice in a long time, and I'm like a lot of folks. I am starving for some football, and I can't wait to see it this fall, and go Panthers. Glad to be here.
Well, again, we just thank you so much, and we want to thank all of you for watching. We'll be back, as I said, we'll be doing that show tonight. Hope that you check that out, and then we'll be back tomorrow morning with another practice. So thank you again, Wesley, and thanks all of you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow morning.